Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed and this is my creative for project 3. I made an editor tool for editing sprites because my last few projects were sprite oriented. I wanted to make it a lot easier, and then in the middle of that I figured why not make a project out of it. So this is my version 2 of that sprite editor with added functionality and whatnot. Let's get right into it. Over here on the left is my sprite editor version 1. This is my research portion. I just followed the tutorial about how to make a window like this using GUI layout and general editor tools you see up here. You can put it in a tab. And over here on the right is my version 2, which is kind of my take on it. It has a lot of my creative additions, just the quality of life stuff that you'd expect in your typical uh, editor. First thing you can immediately see is that you can't draw unless there is a sprite selected on the version 1, which is one of the first things I aim to tackle in this new one. So yeah, you don't need a sprite to be able to draw here. I mean, yeah, you can draw however you want. And another thing too is that you might want more pixels or less pixels depending on your detail. Another addition I have was this grid size variable. So like you can increase the size of the grid and draw however many pixels you want. So yeah, that's another thing you can add. It doesn't depend on the size of the pixel like it did before, right? So this will always snap to whatever size pixel you want. This one you can choose it to be whatever you want. This one keeps all the same functionality, by the way, though. So you can still do like everything you wanted to do normally. Something you're still able to do is be able to clear or erase any selected color you want in your sprite. So let's say like from from this sprite over here, you don't like that outline. You kind of just select the color of the outline and then clear the selected, which gets rid of that grid, which is really nice. I want to expand on this. What if instead of erasing it, I wanted to just change a whole color on the grid itself? So I guess for right now, I'll show the clear selected. Yeah, that works. Let's say I wanted to change the outline color altogether. So like instead of it being this black, what if I want it to be, I don't know, what if I want it to be white instead? So I select that, and since selected color is black and this is white, it'll switch to when I hit switch colors, and now the outline is white. So you can do this with any color as long as you choose it. So like let's say I don't like this orange. Let's say I like red better. So I want to switch to red, so I'll go over here and go red, and then I hit switch colors and boom, it's red. So you can really reflect instead of like going over this all over again and changing it. Um, Another thing I have added that you may have seen is the undo button. So this, well, I'll explain a lot more about the technical side in the code walk, but yeah, it's just your typical, this is your typical undo that's kind of, mandatory in basically everything we do. So say I make a mistake, oh no, undo. And this works for individual pixels or entire strokes like that. Or let's say I switched the color accidentally, like, oh no, I didn't want it to be red. Boom, undo. Okay, the last thing I added was this pixels per unit. Pixels per unit basically means how many pixels you want to fit in one unit of Unity world space. So if you want more pixels in a smaller amount of space, you kind of get more detail since it's like more pixels densely packed. I wanted the user to be able to choose what they want for that. Um, so I think the default is 48, but if I want it to be, I don't know, let's say 64, I can save it just like I could before. So let's go art, some new sprites is where I've been saving everything, and let's hit save. And if I go to project and go to that same place where I saved it, which is some new sprites, there it is, new sprite. And then I open the inspector over here, if it would show up, there it is. Yep, check that out, 64. Yeah, so you can just choose. So now you can choose how many pixels per unit, how much detail you want, which really goes well with the being able to choose your grid size as well. The save function, which is the same as the original sprite editor, saves the PNG and puts it on your hard drive. The only difference I did with this one uh, is I gave the importer for pixels per unit an actual field you can input. So here it originally defaulted to 48, which now I put it into the user's hands. So pixels per unit used to be 48, and now here you can actually set it in the integer field, which is nice. So that when it saves, it automatically has the correct pixels per unit. Another thing I did, which is what I really wanted to talk about, was this undo functionality. So where is it? Yeah, right here. When the undo button is hit, you will pop the last action on the stack, on the undo action stack. Undo action stack is a list of objects that that fill up as you perform actions, but the one you really care about is the one at the very top. So These actions include things like um, the editable the last state of the editable texture as well as strokes. So things like clearing the selected will add action to the stack, um, also as well as switching colors. And then when you actually like go to pop these, when you hit undo, it'll get that last action and it'll see if it is either a stroke or if it is like a full texture state change. So that is the clear and color switch I talked about. And then it'll apply all those pixels to that previous state that we popped and then apply it. The stroke is a little bit more complicated. So whenever you draw, you will add, I'm gonna show you in a second, but you'll add a location and then a color stroke, and then we'll simply um, set all of those like from the very beginning, from mouse up to mouse down, and then save that as a state you can switch back to. So if I go back up here to handle mouse texture, okay, right here, handle mouse input, I should say. When mouse goes down, you clear the snapshot. The snapshot is the current stroke you're in. All right, and then as you're dragging, keep like setting the pixel color, and then when you go mouse up, you want to push, you want to create a new snapshot given this location, the color, and then you want to add that to the stack. So then when you go to add it, you can just push it on there. So yeah, that's essentially how it works. That's how it saves this, how it's able to discern between different textures, and then yeah, it simply applies them as you press the button. Okay, so for what I learned about pixels per unit, which what I thought it was is how many pixels fit in a grid size, but apparently um, for at least pixel artists, they have to consider how many pixels they want to fit in like a single unit of space. So I learned about how that worked in Unity and how that could be applied. Okay, another thing I learned was the practical use for a stack, which in computer science is first in last out. So that means like if you're stacking something, you only take the thing at the very top of the stack. Um, the most modern software, that's how they handle their undo functionality. So the last action's at the very top, and when you want to get rid of it, you just have save states as the individual things you stack, and then just pop them off the top so that you can get uh, the last um, the last state. Another thing I learned, I'm really proud of this project, and I figured like I can't be the only one to use it. It's pretty simple, but I feel like if I can give it to people, it'd be helpful. So I looked a lot into the Unity publisher portal. Unity have made it pretty easy to um, to publish things. So like if I wanted to just I'd put it as tools and painting, and I'd upload it via the Unity editor, and then I'd release it. And yeah, that's something I may look into when I make a version 3. But yeah, any questions?